Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
The Marathon MP ordered to pay a heavy fine for breaching the rights of Save the Bays. That story coming up.
Jerome Fitzgerald responds to Justice Charles' ruling. That and more straight ahead.
A former F&M deputy leader weighs in on the party. That story straight ahead.
A travel warning issued in South Florida as more confirmed cases of the Zika virus are reported. Welcome to our news. I'm Christina McNeil. Thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight, Supreme Court Justice Indra Charles has ruled that Marathon Member of Parliament Jerome Fitzgerald breached the constitutional right to the privacy of Save the Bays members when he disclosed private emails in Parliament. Simone Davis has the details of the landmark ruling.
Justice Charles ordered that Fitzgerald pay $150,000 in damages, as well as destroy all material within 14 days. As the ruling was handed down this morning, Justice Charles granted a permanent injunction prohibiting the MP from disclosing or publishing any private information belonging to Save the Bays without the group's consent. Back in March, during his contribution to the mid-year budget debate, Fitzgerald disclosed private emails exchanged between the members of Save the Bays. He also disclosed financial details. The applicants in the matter were Save the Bays' Zachary Bacon, who is the brother of hedge fund billionaire Louis Bacon, Save the Bays Director of Legal Affairs Fred Smith, and lawyer Ferran Bethel. Outside court this morning, Smith told reporters he's pleased with the ruling.
Today is a vindication of the rule of law in the Bahamas. The Coalition to Protect Clifton Bay and Mr. Zach Bacon are extremely happy with this result. It was a very hard-fought case, very well prepared by both sides.
Save the Bays was seeking a permanent injunction against Fitzgerald and Fox Hill MP Fred Mitchell. However, Charles said Mitchell was not in breach of the group's constitutional rights. Smith said the case serves as proof that parliamentary privilege is not superior to the country's constitution.
This is the first time in the Bahamas that vindicatory damages have been awarded for $150,000. That's even higher than the Tamara Merson or Harvey Tynes case. And I think it's a recognition by the court of how important the right to privacy in the Bahamas is. And she was very clear that parliamentary privilege does not trump the supremacy of the Constitution.
Smith said the case is also an advantage to the international financial services industry as it relates to privacy.
And what it will do is also send a clear message to the international financial world that has been waiting on tenterhooks for this judgment. What it means is that the government of the Bahamas cannot hack into your emails or get them somehow, and when you challenge them, they don't explain how they got them. And so this is going to help to prevent the financial services industry fleeing the Bahamas.
Attorney Lauren Klein, who represents the respondents, including the Office of the Attorney General, intends to appeal the decision. The appeal resulted in a stay of Charles's destruction order. Reporting for our news, I'm Simone Davis.
Thanks, Simone. Well, the Our News team caught up with the Minister of Education after the court's ruling. Our Giorgio Sturp reports.
The legal battle will not end here. That was Marathon MP Jerome Fitzgerald's response to Justice Indra Charles' ruling that he breached Save the Bays' rights and must now pay $150,000 in damages.
I've said what I had to say. It's before the House, and we'll see where it goes from there. Obviously, all of orders were stayed by the attorneys and the Attorney General's office, and so it's going to be appealed.
The government said in a statement, any finding that there was a breach of the constitutional rights of anyone in this matter is a decision which is wrong on the facts and the law, and the judge's decision will be promptly appealed. The statement continues, at the request of the Attorney General, a stay of the entire decision was granted by the court, and so the status quo remains pending the hearing and determination of the appeal. Fitzgerald says he is curious as to how it was determined that he obtained the information illegally.
I have heard about the ruling. I have not had an opportunity to review it yet, nor has the government's attorneys. But at the end of the day, I would be curious to see on what basis the court ruled that I obtained information illegally. I made it quite clear that I never obtained anything illegally at all. And so the burden is on those who brought the claim to show it. And so I will be reading the judgment to see where and there they were able to establish that I obtained information illegally.
Fitzgerald told reporters he feels that Save the Base is going out of its way to keep him quiet.
It's just interesting, as I said, that an environmental group would spend the kind of money and time they have to keep me quiet. Obviously, they didn't get costs in this case. The judge didn't give them costs. And I know that they had to pay their lawyers somewhere close to $1 million in order to bring this case to where it is. And so they spent a lot of time and money to try and keep me quiet, and so let's see where it goes.
The government also vowed to defend and preserve the right of MPs to speak freely in Parliament. Reporting for our news, I'm Giorgio Sturrup.
Thanks, Giorgio. In other news, the Nassau Guardian can reveal the reported deals made with former Free National Movement leadership candidates Loretta Butler Turner and Dr. Dwayne Sands after they withdrew their bids for party leadership in a move to prevent any further fracture within the F&M. Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner has reportedly been offered renomination, the post of Leader of Opposition Business in the House of Assembly, a prominent role in the F&M's general election campaign, and a senior position in a Minnis cabinet should the F&M win the next election. Dr. Sands, on the other hand, has reportedly been assured that he would remain the party's candidate for Elizabeth. He was also offered a prominent role in the national campaign, the post of Leader of Opposition Business in the Senate, and a senior position in a Minnis cabinet. During the convention's closing night, the party leader said the olive branch had been offered to the Butler and Sands team. Well, following that controversial convention, a senior F&M is calling for unity. Former F&M Deputy Prime Minister Frank Watson says in order for that to happen, Dr. Hubert Minnis must keep those MPs who have publicly criticized his leadership. Jasmine Brown has the details in this report.
Although Watson had endorsed Loretta Butler Turner and Dr. Dwayne Sands ahead of the convention, he says it's now time for the party to get its act together now that the duo has called it quits. When asked if he believes F&M leader Dr. Hubert Minnis has what it takes to effectively lead the F&M to an election victory, Watson gave this brief response.
I certainly hope so.
Amid reports of a possible deal between the Butler and Sands and Minnis camps, Watson insisted that Minnis must not alienate the 6 MPs who expressed a lack of confidence in his leadership. Those MPs threatened to write a letter to the Governor General to have Minnis removed as opposition leader.
Well, I think one of the first things he needs to do is to get the council to ratify all the standing members, and that'll go a long way towards unity. And if we're going to do unity, we can't just talk it, we got to walk it.
Watson says what's most important now is setting a course for the next election.
We'll need the input of all of the FNMs to develop a proper plan and the type of attack that we want to pursue, and to work together in unison. And we can't just talk about unity, we have to show that unity in how we behave, what we do, and so forth.
When asked if he felt true unity is possible given last week's contentious convention, Watson said this.
I think in a political setting like this, we all share the same philosophy.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thanks, Jasmine. Well, in a letter to the editor, Minister of Education Jerome Fitzgerald confirmed that he was one of the members of the new generation who encouraged Prime Minister Perry Christie to remain leader of the Progressive Liberal Party. Fitzgerald says after witnessing what happened within the F&M last week, he thinks it would be best not to rock the boat.
And I think after seeing what happened last week during the opposition's convention, I think when you read the reasons which I stated him a couple of months ago, you're able to see how it's rational and it makes sense in this, at this point in time. And so that really was only the point. That really was the only point that I was making. And so, people can take it for what they want, but that's the facts.
Fitzgerald would not name the other new generation candidates, but he said he stands by what he said, and he feels that in order to have stability going into the next general election, it is important to keep the leader in place.
At this point, we need stability, and that was really the only point. And, you know, again, witnessing what happened last week, it's just not something I think a governing party should be embroiled in at this point in time, and that was my only point. And then I gave other reasons as to why I thought it would be a good idea to put the Progressive Liberal Party through that type of ordeal.
Still to come, confirmed cases of the Zika virus in South Florida. But first, police investigate a murder on Grand Bahama after an entire month with no reported murders. That's coming up when our news returns.